Welcome to the Google Cloud Update for the first week of December 2025. I'm your host, and we've got a packed episode for you today, full of exciting new capabilities hitting the platform. This week, we'll kick off with some critical security advisories you'll want to act on, especially if you're running Google Kubernetes Engine. Then, we're diving deep into the world of AI and data analytics with some game-changing features in BigQuery that automatically generate embeddings, the arrival of Spark 4.0 in Dataproc, and new capabilities in AlloyDB and Vertex AI. We also have major news for compute and containers, with GKE Inference Gateway going GA and a new CI/CD experience for Cloud Run. And of course, we'll cover updates across networking, databases, and a whole lot more. Let's get into it. First up, let's talk security. This is important, so please pay close attention. Two high-severity vulnerabilities have been identified in the Linux kernel that can lead to privilege escalation on container-optimized OS nodes. These are tracked as CVE 2025-40018 and CVE 202-540019. GKE standard and autopilot clusters are impacted. The good news is that clusters using GKE Sandbox are not affected. The recommendation is to upgrade your container-optimized OS node pools to the patched versions as soon as possible. We won't list all the version numbers here, but please check the security bulletin for the specific version you need to upgrade to. These vulnerabilities also have a pending impact on GDC for VMware, GKE on AWS, and GKE on Azure, while GDC for bare metal is not affected. In other security news, Cloud Armor has a new signature in its Claw versus E canary rules. It's designed to help detect and mitigate CVE 202555182. Also, Config Sync and Cloud Service Mesh have both received patches to address multiple common vulnerabilities and exposures, so be sure to update to the latest versions. All right, let's shift gears to the exciting world of AI and data analytics. This is a big one. BigQuery has just launched autonomous embedding generation in preview. This is incredibly powerful. You can now enable this feature when you create a table using the Create Table statement. When you do, BigQuery will automatically create and maintain a column of embeddings based on a source column you specify. So anytime you add or change data in that source column, BigQuery updates the embeddings for you. Paired with this is the new AI.search function, which enables semantic search on these tables. This dramatically simplifies building sophisticated search and RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation applications, right inside your data warehouse. Also in BigQuery, the Explorer pane in BigQuery Studio now shows search results within your current organization by default, with a drop-down to switch if you need to. That feature is now generally available. And for those connecting with external tools, an updated ODBC driver for BigQuery is now available. Next up, a huge announcement for Dataproc. Serverless for Apache Spark now has its runtime version 3.0 generally available. And the headline feature? It brings support for Spark 4.0. This new runtime also simplifies onboarding, improves reliability, and reduces startup latency. Workloads are now regional and multi-zonal by default to improve resource availability, and there's a new BigQuery Spark catalog pre-configured for native table interactions. Moving over to databases, AlloyDB introduces query plan management. This feature helps ensure query plan stability by continuously monitoring and capturing potential execution plans. It gives you granular control to force the optimizer to choose from approved plans, protecting your database from performance regressions. A fantastic feature for mission-critical workloads. And finally, for our AI developers, Vertex AI has made Video 3.1 generally available. This includes the Video 3.1 and Video 3.1 Fast models for high-quality video generation. Do also take note of a deprecation warning. Imagen 4 preview models are being retired, so make sure to migrate your workflows to the generally available Imagen 4 models to avoid any service disruption. Now for our updates in compute, containers, and DevOps. Starting with Google Kubernetes Engine, GKE, Inference Gateway is now generally available and ready for production. This release is packed with major enhancements. The API has graduated to version 1, and there's a new intelligent routing feature called prefix-aware routing, which can improve time-to-first token latency by up to 96% for conversational AI by maximizing KV cache hits. You could also now secure endpoints with API key validation via Apigee integration and route requests based on the model field in the HTTP body, enabling native compatibility with the OpenAI API spec. On the GKE side, there is also a known issue to be aware of. In some recent GKE versions, the GCS Fuse CSI driver is not automatically applying performance tuning defaults for high-performance machine types. The workaround is to explicitly set the machine type as a GCS Fuse mount option. For example, machine type equals N2 standard 4. For those of you using Cloud Run, there's a great new feature in preview called Developer Connect. Right from the Cloud Run console, you can now set up continuous deployments from your GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket repositories, streamlining your CI/CD pipeline. And rounding out this section, we have a few updates for config sync. It now supports a new annotation to ignore mutations from other controllers, improving compatibility. The internal observability library has been updated from OpenCensus to OpenTelemetry, aligning with modern standards, and you can now use the native Kubernetes mutating admission policy to customize the node placement of config sync system pods. Let's talk networking. Application load balancers have a new trick up their sleeve, now in preview. You can use regular expressions to configure more flexible and precise traffic routing rules in your URL maps. This leverages RE2 syntax for matching on URL paths, HTTP header values, and query parameter values. This is available for regional internal, cross-region internal, and regional external application load balancers. Also for load balancing, backend mutual TLS and backend authenticated TLS are now generally available for both regional external and regional internal application load balancers. This allows you to enforce bidirectional identity verification for your regional deployments. And for those moving large amounts of data, Storage Transfer Service now lets you transfer data from AWS S3 or Azure Blob Storage over a private network connection using cross-cloud interconnect or partner interconnect. This is a great option to optimize costs, get dedicated bandwidth, and keep your data off the public internet for compliance. We also have a quick update for Media CDN, which now supports multi-part range requests in general availability, allowing users to fetch multiple non-contiguous file segments in a single request. And finally, a small but welcome UI update in Spanner Studio. String values and query results are now enclosed in double quotes, making them easier to distinguish from other data types. And now for a quick roundup of updates from across the cloud. For our SAP users, the BigQuery connector for SAP version 2.11 is now GA, which adds support for JWT authentication using project-specific service accounts. The Contact Center mobile SDKs are out with version 2.15.0, letting you turn off push notifications at a global level and fixing a few iOS bugs. Google SecOps has updated a long list of supported default parsers in Chronicle, covering everything from a 1Password to Azure AD. Check the notes if you rely on these parsers. The reCAPTCHA mobile SDK for iOS has been updated to fix a race condition. And finally, VPC Service Controls has added preview support for the App Design Center integration. And that's a wrap for this week's Google Cloud Update. From the game-changing autonomous embeddings in AI search and BigQuery, to the arrival of Spark 4.0 and Dataproc, and the production readiness of GKE Inference Gateway, there is so much new functionality to explore. And please, don't forget to review those GKE security bulletins and patch your clusters. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for another dose of Google Cloud News.